Are you afraid of taking GMAT mocks or any quizzes? Or whenever you think of taking any quiz, a timed quiz, there is a sense of anxiety. And this is very common for most of the students, who are in this first time they're preparing, or even second time if they're preparing, they're very afraid of taking that mock test or maybe the quiz. Whenever the time is involved, there is an anxiety. How can we just get out of that anxiety? Now there are two types of anxieties. One is a starting anxiety. Second is an anxiety that stays with you throughout the quiz or the mock that you are taking. Now, there are two reasons why we have this kind of anxiety. Number one, if you don't know the concepts, if your basics are weak and you're going for the quiz, of course there will be anxiety. And this anxiety normally stays throughout the quiz. The other type of anxiety, which is the starting anxiety, and I think it is I would say it's 80% of the overall anxiety that we have, that's starting anxiety. If we can overcome this starting anxiety, rest things can flow. So normally I recommend exposure therapy to my students. When I say exposure therapy, what I normally tell them that create around 40 to 50 quizzes of 10 minutes each, where you can have 5 questions in each quiz. If you're afraid of quant, create around 50 quizzes of quant with each quiz of 10 minutes and it has 5 questions. If it's verbal, you can take 1 RC. If it's critical reasoning, take 5 questions of critical reasoning, 10 minutes. You can make these quizzes on any of there are many platforms where you can create these quizzes and you can get the questions from GMAT Club. Now, when you create these quizzes, what you do, every day morning, wake up and take this 10 minutes quiz. So if you give this 10 minutes quiz every day, your mind get trained for that, starting anxiety, because every day there will be anxiety. So when, we're getting into this habit that I can get into it, because mostly what happens is it's your body that stops you. So if you just get into that, habit of, okay, every day you just giving yourself that I have to take this timed quiz, automatically you get habitual of it. So you will not have starting anxiety. Of course, there will be some slight anxiety. You cannot get out of this 100%, but most of it will be gone. Now, when you're taking this, there are a few things that can stop you from doing this, because it's really, it's really emotionally draining. So when you're taking this exposure therapy, or you're exposing yourself every day to this timed practice, take care of few things. Number one, when you're doing this, do this with the right mindset. What is the mindset? That this is not your test of knowledge. This is a test of your getting out of that anxiety. So don't expect to have high performance. Okay, performance can come later, but if you just break this, it will take care of a lot of problems you have regarding this. So don't judge yourself. Even if you get all the questions wrong, that's okay. Okay, so don't judge yourself on your performance. That's number one, because you will feel like, oh, I failed, I don't know. So the problem is that you don't know the quant. The problem is, I'm just taking an example of quant. So when you're getting all the questions wrong, don't judge yourself, because right now focus is to get out of that anxiety, because that most of that anxiety is on a physical level, because you're not moving forward. So we have to learn that whenever you want, you can move forward at your will. So that's the number one. Okay, don't judge yourself. Second, now once you want to improve in your accuracy, what you do, there are 5 questions, there were 10 minutes. So in the evening, once you're done with it, just solve those 5 questions. So when you solve those 5 questions, you would see that, oh, these are really simple. So on the other side, you're just, getting this confidence, okay, there's no problem with my knowledge. Okay, so on one side, you're just giving yourself this exposure, which will take you to that level where you can easily get into anything you want, or get into this quiz mode. On the other side, once you start solving those questions yourself, you will see there is no problem with the knowledge. Then slowly, because there are 50 quizzes, so slowly, probably after a week or 10 days, you will be very comfortable with starting the quiz. Then what happens is start putting all your focus on the questions. What happens is we get this anxiety because we keep a lot of focus on ourselves, we judge ourselves. But if you just keep that focus on the questions, okay, so you concentrate on the questions while doing the quiz, because now you are out of that initial anxiety to start. Now you can bring in your focus on the content. So this will happen probably in a week or 10 days later. So put your focus on the questions. That is the next step. Now, once you do that, take care of one thing that, let's say, you took the quiz in the morning. Once you're done with the quiz, don't think about the quiz. Because if you keep thinking about what happened in the morning, you will start associating with your self-image with the quiz, and you'll forget what was the purpose of that quiz, because you will say, oh, I don't know quant, you're doing quant, I don't know quant, what will happen, this will happen. But you forget that it was just an exposure therapy where you're just getting used to whenever there is a time, you just get into it. You're not thinking of how I perform. So don't think about your performance, what happened in the morning. Don't think about it throughout the day. If you do that, you'll be neutralized, you'll be neutral towards that particular thing. But if you keep thinking about what happened in the morning, because you failed in the morning as per you, though you succeeded because you took that quiz. So because we judge ourselves on the wrong parameters, so we start hating it. So don't do that. And last, there's something called, once we fail in something, we try to isolate ourselves from other things. We just don't feel interested in anything, and that hampers our self-confidence, self-image. So once you're done with this, go out, talk to your friend, so that you can get into a very cheerful mood. Okay, because don't isolate yourself. Normally we isolate ourselves when we fail, and that is the biggest problem. So once you did that, go to office, try to put yourself into the situation where you can talk to people, or if you can work with some coach, because this is normally I do with my students, I talk to them. So once I talk to them, I give them the right perspective, because we just need the right perspective, because we are just focusing on the wrong thing, and we're just giving some wrong meaning to it, and that's why we're feeling down. But if you just talk to somebody who can understand this, then you can be out of it every day. So if you do this for probably 15 days, 20 days, probably you will see that there is no more anxiety, and you are able to perform really well, because that initially I can overcome this initial anxiety, and during the quiz I can focus on the questions. I'm not focused on myself. So try this out and see if it helps you to get out of this anxiety when you take timed quizzes or timed mocks. Thank you.